Hey there, this is Arthur Hill, Chief Technical Strategist at TrendInvestorPro.com. It is Friday, October 3rd, and you have tuned in to the Friday Chart Fix. Thank you very much for joining us. I do appreciate it. So today, it's all about healthcare. We're going to look at XLV as it triggers a bullish trend composite signal. But this is not the first signal for XLV. If we go back to late July, we had signs of capitulation. We had a double bottom breakout in late August, and we had a bull flag at the end of September. We'll review those setups and then show you what to look for going forward. Then we'll look at some new trend composite signals in 5 stocks within the healthcare sector, but there are also a dozen stocks that have been in uptrends for 100 or more days, and those are the true leaders, and we'll show you a candle glance chart with those. Let's hit the charts. So this first chart comes from Stock Charts ACP, and it shows the trend composite indicator in the bottom window. And before we look at the recent signal, if you go up to the left-hand side, you can see the chart settings, and you can open that. There's the trend composite, and you can see the indicators that make up this trend composite. There are 5 trend following indicators, including Bollinger Bands, Keltner channels, CCI, Stoke close, and the rate of change of the moving average. And I use 125 days, which covers around 6 months for these indicators. And if you look over on the right-hand side, there you can see we're currently at +3. And so that means 4 indicators have bullish signals and 1 is still on a bearish signal. So 4 minus 1 is 3. And if you're interested in this indicator, you can see the plugins link on the bottom right. And if you scroll down, you can find the Trend Investor Pro Indicator Edge plugin and learn more about that. There are 10 plus 1, 11 indicators on this, and there's a video explaining these indicators. So like all trend following indicators, this indicator lags. All trend following indicators lag. And they produce good results because they catch outsized trends. And there will be whipsaws, but the idea is those big trends that you're going to catch are going to pay for the whipsaws. If you look here, we had a bearish signal in November, mid-November 2024, when it turned negative. And that signal lasted almost a year. And then you can see here, it turned bullish with a move first to +1 and then to +3. And this bullish signal coincides with a break above that September high and that big move up. So basically, the news here is the long-term trend is up for XLV. However, even though we just got this signal with a trend following indicator, if you want to front run these signals or anticipate a trend signal, you have to study the price charts and you have to look at other indicators. And we'll look at some of those signals that popped up recently. So this is a chart from July 25th, and it was put out in the Friday Chart Fix. And basically, I was showing that healthcare had become way oversold on a longer term basis, signs of capitulation type selling pressure. And this is a weekly chart, and these pink lines show when the 40-week rate of change moved below -10%. That is in the lower window there. And so you can see you had that in early 2016. You had that in April 2020 or March. Then you had it in the latter part of 2022. And then we had one in July there or in the late spring. But basically, you can see when you get signs of capitulation, that means that selling pressure has been overdone. Now, I wouldn't use this for an individual stock and probably not for an industry group ETF, but for a sector like healthcare, which is not going to zero. XLV is not going to zero. An individual stock can go to zero, but healthcare is going to be around. And when a sector like this gets down 10% over a 40-week period, that's a sign that it's way oversold and you get a mean reversion, because I do think that the longer term trend is up for healthcare. If you look at a 5-10-year chart, it's going to be up. And so if you look back, when you got down 10% in 40 weeks, and you look out over the last 2 years, or the next 2 years, you had an advance of those times. And so we got that signal, and it takes a while to base. A capitulation signal means, hey, put this on your radar, watch for a basing process and a possible breakout. So here is a bar chart of XLV, and we can see that basing process on this chart because the previous chart expanded several years. This one goes back about 2 years, and we can see here that XLV came down. It established support twice in that 128 area, and then had this big surge in August with a break above that intermittent high. And that's a double bottom. And this breakout was bullish. And then we kind of stalled around and we got a break above the 200-day, and that was bullish as well. But then all of a sudden we get this really sharp decline. Now in hindsight, this was a pullback within an uptrend because you can see we got this surge here. But the question is, what did this look like when we were down here around 134? Was there a setup here? And we're going to look at a short-term chart to show you the setup we were identifying on September 30th. And if you look down here at the bottom, you can see the price relative breaking out above its August-September high to show some relative strength coming into healthcare. But let's look at that short-term setup. So we got a pretty sharp pullback in September, but I think the question we had to ask ourselves was, is this a normal pullback within an uptrend or after a sharp advance, or is this a big fake out and we're heading to new lows? And I asked that question to myself on Tuesday, and I put out a report Tuesday before the open, and I identified this as a bull flag and a normal oversold condition after a breakout. And if we look at this chart here, we had the breakout, we had the move above the 200-day. The 200-day is not shown on this chart, and then we came down hard. Now we came down hard, but if we look at it, we had a 9.3% advance. So you're entitled to a correction or a pullback after that big advance. And so we get this pullback in the form of a falling flag, which is a bullish continuation pattern. It retraces 50%, which is normal for a retracement after a big advance. 2 steps forward, 1 step backward. That's a bullish sequence. And percent B became oversold with the move below zero. So you had 3 things going on here: a bull flag, a 50% retracement, percent B below zero. You're oversold, and you had trend signals with breakouts in August and September. So I viewed this as a pullback within an uptrend. And of course, we got the answer with that big surge on Tuesday, follow through on Wednesday. So I think XLV is in a long-term uptrend now, and it should be on our radar for setups going forward. And if you're a trend follower, it should be part of some sort of trend following strategy. So the setup I just showed you in XLV with that bull flag is the type of setup that we're looking for at Trend Investor Pro. We're looking for long-term uptrends, we're looking for leaders, and then we're looking for tradable pullbacks and short-term oversold conditions for those leaders. This is the premium page where I highlight those setups with charts and videos. We had setups in a lot of the metals related ETFs going into August and breakouts in late August. You can see here that we're following up on those breakouts here in Bitcoin and uranium and gold and silver. We also had some stocks that we highlighted. We had a Mag 7 stock, Microsoft, as well as a couple of defense stocks, a crypto stock, and AMD we highlighted with a bullish pennant. And then if you go down further, you can see on this premium page that we highlighted XLV on the 30th there, and that was on Tuesday morning, as well as ITB. ITB is setting up with a pullback within its longer-term uptrend. It had a big move up as rates fell, and then it corrected and hit a potential bullish setup zone, and we're watching that one closely. So if you're interested in a trial, go up to the top of the web page, and you can see the link for joining Trend Investor Pro Premium. Trial is only $9, and there's also some articles and educational reports that you can benefit from just by taking the trial. So check out TrendInvestorPro.com to learn more. So what now for XLV? Well, XLV needs to be on our radar for tradable setups and short-term oversold conditions within this new uptrend here. We can see we've had a big move up from 134 to around 144. That is a huge move. That is a powerful thrust. And it's not the first one, it's the second one. We also had a big thrust here in August that triggered the breakout. So that was the first sign of the rocket lifting off. And then we corrected, and now we got a big thrust. So yeah, maybe we're short-term overbought, but we're supposed to be short-term overbought in a long-term uptrend. And the question is, will we get a pullback? We'll get a pullback, but we don't know when it will happen here. We're just going to have to monitor price action and our short-term oscillators. Now, if we look at the current situation, you can see that broken resistance here turns into the first support zone in that 138, 140 area. And in addition, we do have a 50% retracement in the middle. So if we pull back to this 139 area, 138, 140, I like to use zones, then that would be a potential opportunity, a short-term pullback within a longer-term uptrend. And so that's the first area I'm putting on my radar to watch for XLV. If we look at the indicator window, here we got CCI 20, and we can see it becomes oversold with a move below minus 100. If you want real oversold, you can go below minus 200. But if it gets below minus 100, that would signal a short-term oversold condition, and that would suggest, hey, watch price action closely for a potential upturn. And this will be on my radar going forward. So we do track the trend composite signals for stocks in the S&P 500 at TrendInvestorPro.com. If you're on any web page here on Trend Investor Pro, you can see the free link over on the left side of the navigation menu at the top. And if you scroll down, there you can see the link for the trend composite signals. And this table is updated every Saturday morning. And if we look at this table based on last week's update, I will update it again tomorrow. There you can see there's an explanation on how the indicator works and how the table works if you want to do some sorting. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to type in healthcare in the search box. And you can see that puts all the healthcare sectors, all the healthcare stocks at the top here. And then I'm going to sort by trend. And that's downtrend and that's uptrend. And so I can see all the recent or all the uptrends in the healthcare sector. And you can click on the links on the right here to see a sharp chart and study those setups in detail. So there are 59 stocks in the healthcare sector, and 36 of those stocks, 61%, are in uptrends. And so that also supports the long-term uptrend in XLV because the majority of the stocks are in long-term uptrends via the trend composite signals. Now, I also looked at the signals over the last 5 days. You can see that on the table I just showed you. And here we have the 5 stocks that triggered bullish signals over the last 5 days. We got Eli Lilly with a big surge above its 200-day. We have Techne BioNTech with a breakout there and a big surge above the 200-day. Donna here with a big break above the 200-day as well. And then Regeneron didn't get above its 200-day, but it is challenging resistance there in the 600 area. And Merck with a big surge above the 200-day. Now, these are short-term overbought, but these are the kind of stocks you want to put on your radar for future setups going down the road. And you don't know when these setups are going to occur. It could be in a few days, could be in a few weeks, could be in a month. You just have to keep them on your radar and monitor price action on a regular basis. That's what we do here at Trend Investor Pro, by the way. So these are the 5 stocks that triggered signals in the last 5 days. But I also looked at the stocks that have uptrend signals that are more than 100 days or 100 days or more. And these are the leaders. If you're already in an uptrend, before XLV triggers an uptrend, you're leading in that sector. And these 12 stocks have been in uptrends for 100 days or more. And you can see some of them are correcting within their uptrends. Here's Steris. It's consolidating within an uptrend. We have ResMed. It's pulled back within an uptrend, setup working there. We have Insulet, which has pulled back to its 200-day. There's a setup there. We have LabCorp in an uptrend, HCA in an uptrend. IDEX is correcting within an uptrend, so watch for a breakout there. Then we have Edwards Lifesciences. I'll just scroll down so we can see that chart a little bit better and the other 3 at the bottom. There we go. Edwards Lifesciences is testing its 200-day and you can see RSI 10 was oversold. We have Syncora in an uptrend, McKesson in an uptrend. We have Cardinal Health basing above its 200-day moving average and turning up. Gilead Sciences is in correction mode. Watch for a breakout at 115. And here we have Quest Diagnostics. Hit a new high at 190, but fell really hard, but it's coming into support. So watch this for firmness. But these are 12 stocks that have been in uptrends for over 100 days. All right, so that is a wrap for the Friday chart fix. The main takeaways: healthcare is in an uptrend. We had signs of capitulation in July, and we had the double bottom breakout in August. We had the surge into September, and then the pullback, which was a bullish pullback in late September, and then the breakout over the last few days. So healthcare and healthcare stocks should be on our radar for tradable pullbacks along the way during this uptrend here, and I will be watching these. And I gave you a dozen that are in leading uptrends and some that are pulling back and setting up right now. So check out TrendInvestorPro.com if you'd like to learn more and see some of these setups as we find them going forward. Thanks a lot for tuning in, and have a great weekend.